And we're up here in Memphis, so you wouldn't think it would be that cold,
Right.
but it is.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hey, Michael.
How are you guys this morning?
Good,
Doing
good.
good.
Good to see you.
Let's see. Good to see y'all. I think I have everything set up right.
You look different without your hat.
Yeah, I almost always have a hat on these days.
You do, yeah.
I have a quite the hat collection going. I sure like having hats. Hats for different occasions. It's funny, I put on one this weekend. Friday night, I was going out and I was going to wear one. And I put it on and I was like, I really like this. And I like it with this outfit, but it doesn't fit what I'm doing today. So I split.
I was telling Charlene, we're going to get terrible weather. We're going to get, we're going to get slippery ice and sleet, and they're giving the bad weather warnings and stay home if you don't have to go out and all that. So
we had all that last week, and it was bad for a while. It's so much of that happening now.
Well, it's winter,
different
so I guess
times of year. We never had stuff like that before around here in the cold months.
Well, I think in the Memphis area, every once in a while they do get a spate of bad weather comes over, Missouri way, and but it's not very frequent. But when it happens, you really do need to stay in because they don't have the equipment to take it away.
Oh yeah.
So the kids need to stay off the buses because we have all these little farm roads and stuff, and it's dangerous. It really is dangerous.
Yeah, it really is. Well, let's go ahead and get started because I'm gonna have to duck out a little bit early, probably. I have my annual checkup today, and I think I shouldn't call it annual because it's been a couple of years since I've had one. So, but this year I'm having one, so I'll have to duck out to go to that. But I want to share with you, discuss with you, challenge you on something that has really caused me to think and reflect lately, and it's part of a larger concept, like determining the kind of life we want to have and those really big important things. But it's probably one of the most important facets of it, which is developing daily habits, routines, rituals. It's so easy, even at the beginning of a year like this, and I know we're at the end of January, but it's still the beginning of the year. It's easy for us to think about some goals, and maybe we're the kind of people that do that on an ongoing basis. Maybe we do hear the tick, tick, tick of the clock, and we know time is limited, and every single day that passes is getting more limited. If we live with that awareness, then we're wanting to do what matters most, fit things in that relate to our values, our purpose, our mission, our goals. But none of those are going to be accomplished if we don't do things on a daily basis. And so that's what I want our focus to be on today. And I want to ask you, do you have daily habits? Do you have intentional daily habits? Do you use a to-do list? Do you use a calendar that says, okay, now it's time for getting off social media and having silence or meditation or prayer, reflection? Oh, now it's time to get your steps in. Now it's time to read. Now it's time to do something for others. What do you have anything like that in place? And if not, I would encourage you to do that. And I am evaluating what is eating up my days. Where's the time going? And not just time, where's my energy going? And when I have my peak energy, what am I doing during those times? Is it a good use of my time, good use of my energy? Or am I wasting peak energy, peak brain power for the wrong things? And so maybe I'm doing all the right things, I'm not just doing them in the right order. And so I just need adjustments, but it's so easy for us to say what we value, what matters to us, what kind of people we are, our character, our integrity. But if our daily habits, routines, practices don't match up with that, then we're liars. We're lying to ourselves about who we really are. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to have an image of who I am or what I'm doing, what I'm accomplishing, and it not line up with what's really happening. And I can tell you that if I glance to my left on the bookshelf that's on this wall, I have my goals written down, but guess what? They are my 2021 goals. And so when 2022 rolled around, I looked at them and I was like, okay, it's the same. I'm going to do the same. I want to do the same things, but that wasn't good enough. I should have revisited them more fully. I should have typed up new ones. And so that's what I'm in the process of doing now. And I am looking at goals. I'm looking at intentions. I'm looking at what do I want to do with my life? But my emphasis is on the daily habits, daily routines, daily practices. And to me, that is what is going to determine my success or failure with my goals, with what I want my life to be. So I guess the first thing before we even get into, I was going to share some of mine with you. If everyone could mute yourselves until you're ready to talk. I think we're getting some kind of feedback or something. So if you have the opportunity, just it's real easy just to click mute so we won't have that. And when you have something to share, please unmute and share it with us. But would anybody like to share, Vanessa, I've talked to Vanessa a lot, and I know she has daily habits, daily routines. And I know she's self-disciplined. And even if she goes to her church, which is Disney World, for a week and has the best time and maybe changes her routine, obviously, and changes her diet and changes her whatever, I know from talking to her over knowing her many years that she comes back to it. So obviously I'm putting you on the spot, but you don't have to share if you don't want to. But would anybody, Vanessa, like to share some of their daily routines or habits or how they approach what I'm talking about?
Absolutely. This is Vanessa. Absolutely. I think since the pandemic, so several years now, I've been really focused in doing these daily practices, and they are just helping me so much. There are times where when I'm at my church, Walt Disney World, and maybe don't do it as much or in the order, or might even skip a day or two. But for the most part, they're very important to me. And I try to do them in the morning. I start off with, I guess it would be prayer. And I say that just, in the spiritual sense for myself and for others, all the others that I love and adore. I call it my family of blood in my family of choice. And then I ask, basically that's just a series of asking for help, you know? And then I do readings that are inspirational, give me things to reflect on and think about for the day. And then I do meditation. And that is very important to me. I need to do guided meditation. That's just my preference and what I need. And I use apps, various apps to do that. And then I just, throughout the day, I try to remember and recall on all of this different information and that I have going on. I look at all kinds of different things. I'm learning how to do the Tibetan singing bowl right now. Love that. And added that to my practice. So you know, it changes, but it's really a core. And all I can say is that I feel connected. I feel calm. I feel grounded. And I don't feel those things without doing my practice. And those are definitely goals for me overall and daily. And the thing about, I think you say this, Michael, so well, you know, if I'm doing each day, then before I know it, I've had a month, a year of living the way I want to live and how I feel good about living. Yeah. So that's it. That's all I got.
Excellent.
Thanks.
I'm gonna ask you a few questions to follow up. Just you said a certain order, and I think one of the key words you said was morning. So pretty much this is first thing in the morning. This is when you practice these.
Yes, I try to, but sometimes, you know, life keeps lifing.
Sure.
And, you know, I might get a phone call or something and I'll do that. And then I might end up, you know, doing the tasks. I have to-do lists. And then I'll realize, because I've been doing this for so long, that it's like I don't know, my body, my mind goes, wait a minute, something's missing.
Right.
And so I might take, you know, time out as soon as I can. And sometimes that may be evening, but you know, it's okay. It's not, so I like to do it in the morning because it sets the intention for the day. But if it ends up being night, it's still okay because I'm doing something to nourish my mind, my body, my soul. And so that's good. You know, I don't take points off for not getting it done in the morning. Yeah.
Right. Cool. Anyone else have anything they'd like to share on their daily habits or routines?
Well, Michael, I have to say, I'm opposite of Vanessa. For many, many years, I had a schedule to keep. And now that I'm retired, I set my own schedule. And while I do have things that I have to do and some things that I want to do, I keep my days as flexible as possible, because I realized a long time ago that the people in my life are the most important, no matter what is happening thing-wise. It's always the people. So I'm always available for lunch. Just throw that out there in case you want to have lunch someday. I'm always available.
Hey, it made me think. I was talking to a friend whose daughter works for an airline, so she can fly free anywhere in the I think in the US. And she was talking about just flying to New York for lunch. And so I was thinking, you know, if I had a daughter that was working for the airline, I would fly over there and have lunch with you.
Absolutely. You know, and I don't even have to wait for the frequent flyers. I'll just tell my husband, book me a flight someplace, you know, and he's very good about that. But I want to be flexible for the people that I love and that are important to me. So if I'm doing something, I do have somewhat a quasi schedule. There's certain things I have to do. You know, I might have to wash a dish or two. I try not to have to do that, but I like to sew. I like to quilt, but I try to get a whole bunch of stuff ahead of time. So if someone needs one, I could just go to the closet and give it to them, and I don't have to stress myself and think, oh my gosh, I have to make something, you know. So I'm always available to my people.
That's great.
That's just the way I am.
That flexibility, I think, is important. And I heard even in Vanessa's routine, flexibility. Hey, there might be a phone call, there might be this or that. What both of you shared and what you just spoke about is your values. And your values are people. Your values are family, friends, remaining open for them. And those are choices you're making. That's what our daily habits, routines, rituals have to line up with our values. They have to be connected to what matters most to us, because this is going to be over very, 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 very soon. And I don't want to look back and say, man, I wasted so much time and what I was actually doing didn't line up with what I said mattered to me. Anyone else want to share? John, you have anything on this topic?
Yeah, my morning routine is similar to Vanessa's. I throw in the stuff that I don't want to do, because when I'm just waking up, I'm a little dumb, and it helps me if I do those things kind of automatically. I don't complain about them as much. So if there's laundry to do, I'll do that. Working out, I'll get that done. Personal hygiene and stuff, I get all that out of the way before I'm awake enough to complain. And then I do all the routine chores, taking care of the livestock in the house and so forth. So that's my morning routine. But then some of the things that Vanessa does in the evening, in the morning, I'll do in the evenings. I'm trying to get another routine in the evening so that I have bookends, So in the evening, I'll do another, if I'm lucky, if I'm smart, if I'm on time, I'll do another prayer. I'll do my reading then. I'll try to go over the things that I did during the day and see if I need to, rethink them the next day or redo them or try again. That's when I do my reading. I practice Spanish, again, but it's repetitive stuff. But in the evening, it's stuff that I may be able to do with a little bit more brain power, on my side. So, and also things that'll kind of calm me down so that I can get to sleep. But the evening one is harder to do. I've noticed it's just harder to wedge it in there time wise, and then harder to remember. There's all that stuff happens during the day. So,
John, I read a book once called Eat That Frog, and it was all about doing the most onerous tasks first when you first get up, so that way you don't have to think about them anymore. They're already completed. So that's a good point. Do the most onerous tasks first.
Otherwise, for me at least, they don't get done.
That's right. They don't. Yeah.
Too willful.
So John is saying that he has some energy or brain power left in the evening. Some maybe even better somewhat than in the first thing in the morning. Knowing ourselves, knowing our calendar, our clock, that's what we have to learn, and learn when we should do what. As much as I agree with there's things that we're not going to want to do, and doing them sooner rather than later is important, they may not be as important as, like, for instance, for writing, I want to write as early in the day as possible, or as early in my day as possible. There's something about morning pages. There's something about a fresh mind that is just waking up. There's something about a fresh mind that had a subconscious working all through the night. And so that's a great time for creativity. Now, I create throughout the day, and I will create in the afternoons and in the evenings and late at night. And they all have different strengths and weaknesses, different opportunities. But if those first morning hours are our best, or when we're at our best, then we need to make sure we're doing what's most important then. We have to figure all that out for us. It's not going to be the same for us, for each of us. We've talked somewhat about morning rituals, and they are so important. And as Vanessa said, they can really set the tone for your day. And they can be something that you carry with you throughout the day. I've been thinking about a word for this year, and I recommend that to you. If you're contemplating and reflecting and also looking forward, and if there's something that comes to mind that you really want to be a priority or an emphasis this year, maybe write that down. Maybe have a word or a phrase or a song or whatever. I was just thinking about, with our morning rituals, with our morning meditation and readings, what if we had an inspirational thought, or we read something? What if we just took a little sheet of paper and wrote that word or phrase down and put it in our pocket and literally took it with us through our day? So we reach in to get our keys to go somewhere and we see it. We reach in to get our wallet or our money to pay for lunch or whatever it is, and we see it and we're reminded. I can't overemphasize the importance of writing things down. All the great experts with our minds, brains, psychology, neurologists talk about the importance of writing things down and how it encodes it. And so we keep it more. It writes it down so we don't have to worry about it. We know it's there. We know I'm going to come back to this to-do list, so I don't have to have that noise. That activity there is here. And so I can come back to it. We learn so much, we make it our own when we write it down, when we generate it versus just reading it or hearing it from someone else. So I really encourage you to, in addition to everything else that's been said, to journal, that to reflect and journal. Now, John talked about evening. We have morning rituals. We should have evening rituals, and reflecting on our day. Evening's a great time for that. Maybe right before bed, maybe earlier in the evening, but that might be a good time to journal. Maybe we journal in the morning and the evening and really reflect on, how the day went, what we did, all of that. I'm just going to start reading a list of things that all kind of people out there, experts in these issues, recommend. See if any of them resonate with you. See if you already do them. And I don't think, there's a lot of them, I don't think they will all resonate with us. We have to find what works for us. That's what matters most. But I bet there will be several on here that you can relate to and that would be beneficial for your day and your daily habits. Number one, give yourself more time by waking up earlier. Number two, make your bed. I am not a bed maker. Now, to my credit, I'm also not a bedwetter. But I've not been. I know people swear by it, and I know there's active and ex-military that they get those corners of those sheets, and I'm not saying it's not a good idea, but I've not done that one yet. Set your most important tasks for the day, and I would say write them down. Connect with your bigger goals by journaling. And we should know how every activity we want to do in a day, on our to-do list, on our morning rituals, on our daily habits, relate to our goals. Ultimately, how do they relate to our goals? And journaling is a way of keeping up with that. I say this matters, but what did I actually do? I say this is important, but what did I actually do with my day? Meditate to prepare for whatever the day brings. Skip email and social media first thing in the mornings. And I know people who say they, like fast. Like I've started intermittent fasting. And so that means from 8:00 at night until 12 the next day, I can only have water and black coffee or unsweet tea. We could set a social media fast, a television fast for a certain number of hours in a day, or for several days, whatever. This one's already been mentioned. Eat the frog. Tackle something difficult when your energy is highest. Number 8, schedule and take more breaks. I heard someone speaking about the dangers of sitting too much, and how we as a culture and society, we're sitting more and more and more. The jobs that are out there now require, involve more sitting, and how dangerous that is. And in some ways, they talked about you think about some really dangerous things we can do, like smoking, like a bad diet and different things. Sitting too much is right up there with those. So even if our job or our calling or our whatever involves sitting, we should try to get up and move around if we can. Set a timer to do that. Try to get in just some kind of movement. And we're all different. We're all different. We have different bodies. We have different ages. We have different everything. We have to do it for us. Well, what works for us? And if it's just this, if it's whatever it is, whatever we can do, we need to move more. Batch. I didn't say bitch. I said batch. Batch similar work together. Maybe I talked about not doing your email or social media first thing. What if you do it all at one time? What if you say from 1 until 2 is when I respond to email, or 3 to 4, whatever it is. But set hard limits on certain activities. Hard limits in terms of time, in terms of energy and investment. They may be important, or they may be necessary, but you say, this is not going to eat up my day. I am going to set a limit to what I'm going to give this. And that, relating to that is learn to say no. Know what is for you, KNOW. Know what is for you, and know when to say no. This is not for me. This is a time or energy drain, and I cannot do it. Practice gratitude. Again, write it down. If you can write down what you're grateful for, and again, make it part of your reflection. So at the end of the day, I can remember several times this week when I put my head on my pillow, and a lot of times falling asleep, I'll actually, roll over and be on my stomach. And I can remember as I'm rolling over and put my head on the pillow, sort of not quite face down, but saying thank you. Thank you. I am so grateful. Thank you for this. Thank you for that. Practicing gratitude is life-changing. Make space or time for solitude and silence. So much noise. And some of us are surrounded by people, and there's a lot of people a lot of the time. And maybe we like it that way. Maybe we're extroverts and we really are energized by people, but we still need space. We need solitude. We need silence. We're not going to be able to reflect. We're not going to be able to practice our spiritual practices and these things if we don't have some time alone. I hear a lot of people say this. I do not practice this. I do not. I probably should. But so far, like making my bed, I don't do this one. Turn off your devices at least 30 minutes before you try to fall asleep. Every single night, I am listening to a book or a podcast or something as I'm attempting to fall asleep. And I can fall asleep in my chair, or get, sometimes, like I was watching the basketball game the other night and I missed part of the fourth quarter because I fell asleep so hard. But when I got up and to actually go to bed, I started listening to my book. And by the way, right now I'm listening to Lonesome Dove, and I could not recommend that book highly enough. Pulitzer Prize winning. It was made a fantastic miniseries about it in the 80s. It is, wow, it is a staggering work of genius. I love it. Give your eyes a break. You're looking at screens so much. Close those screens, close your eyes. Drink more water. There's a lot of people that say drink water first thing, not coffee, not tea, not just drink water first thing in the morning. And then make sure you're drinking plenty of water throughout the day. I just had a timer go off. And that timer is to remind me that I have this doctor's appointment in just a few minutes. Set timers throughout the day. Timers, this is your water timer. This is your walk timer. This is your break timer. This, whatever it is. Use technology instead of allowing it to use us so much. Exercise, whatever that means, whatever you can do, move around. Obviously, the very best place to exercise, get our exercise, is in nature, is outside when conditions are appropriate, allow for that. But if you do your exercise on a treadmill or in a gym or in your garage or wherever it is, but also make sure you're having outside time in nature. As I was reading through these, I was thinking about, as a young man, I'm talking about as a teenager, so many of these I practiced without knowing they were, I had no expert saying you should do this or you should do that. But I can recall, as an early seeker, after school, driving up to what I thought was one of the most peaceful and beautiful places close to where I live. And it was, at the time, it was a state park. And I would go up there and meditate and reflect and pray. And there were nature trails and I would walk. Humans half destroyed it. And then Hurricane Michael took out the rest, and it's gone. That place is no more. And I had such incredible experiences there. I have a beautiful backyard on a lake with cypress trees, and I walk out there. I have a beautiful family farm on a lake with, and there's the river and so many beautiful places here, but I need to challenge myself to get out in them more. I'll stop there. I mean, there's so many more we could do, but as I've told you, I'm not doing all those. And I'm not saying we need to be doing all these. How many of y'all make your bed every day? Am I the only one that doesn't? How many of you feel like you're drinking enough water throughout the day? Good. How many of you are journaling daily or nearly? I mean, pretty often. That's great. I cannot tell you how important that is and helpful. We got a few minutes left. Anybody want to respond to any of those or add anything? I am revising my daily to-do list and rituals and habits, and I'm encouraging you to do it also. And I probably will check back in maybe even next week on what my list becomes. And I'm journaling about it and I'm thinking about it, but I'm also going to print it out. I'm going to replace these 2021 goals that are up there. But I am convinced that, as important as the goals are, it's my daily habits, routines, rituals, practices daily that matter most. And that's what's going to determine everything. So really challenging you in that area. Final thoughts, anybody?
Michael, my weekly task list looks like your yearly resolutions. I keep having the same ones at the end of the week. And it goes on until something major happens and the whole house comes crashing down. And then I find that if I have some routines to go to, that are sort of at the center of everything else can kind of fly off or burn off or whatever. And I can watch my routines go away as I become unable to do them. But at the end of whatever crisis or whatever's going on, I'll have what's left. And that's usually the most important stuff. And right there, when the pressure's off, it gives me a great sense of freedom and potential to start building that back on. It doesn't have to be the same as it was.
Right.
It can be, okay, this thing flew away and I'm okay without it. I can put something else in there. And building that kernel of routine back up for me has been just a really confidence building sort of experience.
Awesome. Yeah, that is so good. Anyone else? Couple of minutes.
I just want to say that the writing thing is really important. I'm glad you reminded me, because I do incorporate that after meditation or throughout the day. I will journal. The app even offers that and in it, so I can go directly from a meditation into journaling, and that's really I don't know, really, really helpful. And the other thing, when I'm doing my readings, I make notations in my books. It's okay to write in books. It didn't used to be, but yeah, I will make a notation and put it in writing, like you said, encoding something that stood out to me. Sometimes I put it in my own words. Sometimes I literally pull out the phrase and write it to the side of my book, or a question for myself. And the other thing that I used to do a lot, not so much anymore, but again, like John was saying, sometimes these come and go and we build on them. But I used to take some things that would hit me, write them down on sticky notes and put them in the mirror. And I have quite a collection. I can still see my face in my mirror, but I have quite a collection of profound thoughts from my readings that really struck me, that I put on my mirror to look at daily. So that's all. Thank you.
You can still see your face, but only a little bit at a time. So you have to move around.
It's almost that bad. Not quite. But I have a big mirror. Let me put it that way.
Reminders are so good, so important. The AA and NA carry around what's it called? A chit or a
coin.
A coin.
A medallion. Yeah.
Medallion. You can write shit on you if you want to. You can wear a necklace or a ring or have something in your pocket. Just remind you, just a reminder. Because that's
really
all
is a great connection, a connection to yourself, to those values.
Some people carry rosaries, or whatever it is, just something to connect us to it, remind us. Well, we're out of time. Thanks so much for being here. I hope you have a fantastic week. I hope you can implement some of these things, and I hope to see you next week. Have a great week,
everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Michael.